Hello everybody, Brad the Untitled here with another repair spectacular. Bought this today at a yard sale. This is a Garrard turntable. It's labeled electrophonic. It's got a plastic base with a fairly decent Garrard turntable. Inside it came with a piece of paper that said I couldn't get it to turn. And that was in 2007, so who knows what kind of state this thing is in. We are going to try to repair it. So stick around.
Enjoy.
Okay, see if you can spot the hawk. Do you see the hawk? Where is he? Where's the hawk? Where's the hawk? Where is the hawk? There's the hawk. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is try to plug this thing in. I only gave $2 for it, so I'm not going to be real disappointed if it doesn't work, or if the motor's shot or something like that. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it would be nice if we could get it going. So let's plug it in and see what we can get it to do here. If we can get it to make any kind of noise. I can feel some kind of vibrating going on, so I can feel a little bit of vibrating when I engage it. So maybe it's trying to go. Let's open it up. Okay, here's the bottom of the unit. Gives us a little more information. Part number 11-11401, but there's a model number here, BG24. Let's see, let's get these screws out. Alright. Well, first of all, I suspect we might have a problem with the motor. If it's not turning at all. So we need to check that we have continuity in the motor. Maybe that also that these contacts are getting good connection, I suppose. Let's test the motor, I guess. Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I can tell already this motor's pretty sluggish. This motor feels pretty sluggish to me. Just trying to turn it. I think it's going to need I think it's going to need a cleaning and a lube job. Alright, first thing we want to do is remove these two screws here that hold on the back of this. There should be a sponge inside of this bit that holds any lubrication. And my guess is it's probably pretty frozen. Yeah, it's gonna need a cleaning. So we'll get some Q-tips and some cleaner. Get in here and clean this. We'll clean this shaft right here, re-lube that. Then we'll flip it over and do the other side as well. All right, here we are with the platter off of this thing, and holding the platter on is just a little. This is actually a weird clip. This isn't like a little standard C clip. But anyway, you take that off, you get the platter off, and plug this thing in. When you turn it on, I can hear it trying to move. So something is continuous in there. Somebody's home, but It's trying. But definitely sluggish, definitely in need of some lubrication. Alright, this is the rubber idler wheel. What happens is when you turn this thing on, this arm right here drags the idler wheel onto the spindle, and the spindle turns the idler wheel, which in turn turns the table from the inside of the platter. So we're going to get this off of here. There's just a little C-clip here, which I've already unclipped. And just to unclip them, all you need is just a little screwdriver. They actually make tools for that, but a screwdriver is usually pretty good for that purpose. But what we want to do is just kind of clean this out a little bit of the old stuff. And I'm actually just using my contact cleaner because it is it has a lot of alcohol in it, and this actually does a pretty good job of cleaning off grease. So we're going to take off any old grease on this with some contact cleaner. You could also use this rubbing alcohol, whatever. We'll get off any old grease that we see, and that came out pretty clean. This center spindle though, the center shaft here still has a little bit on it. I've already cleaned it. You definitely want to try to get as much of the old grease as you possibly can off some of these components. That way you can re-lubricate it, which we're going to do now. And what I use is just a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on parts like that. I just like to drop a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on it. Okay, that'll just keep it going freely. And what you do not want to do is get any of that oil on either the spindle surface or the rubber surface. I'm going to keep those away from that. Okay, so there's the C-clamp back on. So that's pretty much ready to go. This is part of the changer mechanism. And the changer mechanisms on tables like this are very often in need of lubrication. I'm sure this one's no different. This one really does not want to come up off there. So maybe I ought to loosen it up first with a little bit of WD-40 just to penetrate down in there. And we'll let that soak in for a bit and then come back to it. Okay, here's the motor out of this thing disassembled. This thing just has 3 mounts that mount it to the rest of the turntable. I'm pretty certain this is continuous, but I'm going to measure this real quick and just make sure. Okay, 114. Yeah, that's very, very okay. So this part's okay. This has got a lot of skid marks on it. See this? So I'm gonna clean all of this off. and maybe even apply a little bit of light lubrication to it. And then we will remove, well, I may not remove this, but I may definitely lubricate it as well. Alright, after cleaning and lubricating this motor, it's working just fine. It works on all speeds. That's the 78 speed right there. And there's the 45, 33, and even 16. So this is a 4-speed turntable, and all speeds seem to be working just as they should. So the next thing we're going to do is lubricate the changer mechanism. I'll also lubricate this center spindle and get the platter back on it, flip it over, and we'll do the whole changer mechanism. Okay, this thing now spins just fine. Changes speeds just fine. But the auto mechanism does nothing at all, so we need to address that. Okay, on these Garrard turntables there are a couple different mechanisms. There's this whole mechanism arm that comes over to here. This changes the speeds, but there's another control that's supposed to send the unit into auto. That's that arm right there that I'm moving. It's supposed to push this piece. You can see, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a piece here that is supposed to push in here and move a little mechanism and triggers everything to go, but it's just not real. It's real sluggish. So I think what we need to do is take all of this apart piece by piece, clean it, and re-lubricate. In order to do that, we need to start here, looks like, by removing a couple of these little C-clamps. Okay, there's also a spring that goes onto this mechanism on top of it, and this little piece right here goes down inside of that hole, so that has to come off in order for this next arm to come off. Okay, I've had the bottom side of this mechanism all apart and re-lubricated, but it seems that the biggest obstacle to this thing working is this little armature right here, which I'm somehow going to have to get off of here. The problem is this whole platter should come up off of this, and it's not wanting to do that, so I'm going to have to figure out some way to get this loose. Alright, let's see if we can get this platter up and off of here. This changer wheel, it definitely does not want to come. Okay, fired up my soldering iron, and we'll see if we can get this to come off this way. Sometimes you can heat these up in the middle, and sometimes that'll loosen up the grease enough to pry something like this off. But all right, after spraying a bit of WD-40 and pounding on this with the implement, I've been able to loosen it up a little bit, so that's much better than it was. Holy crap. Okay. Well, that was an adventure. We finally got it off, though. Now, a little bit of lithium grease on this shaft. And hopefully we won't ever have that problem again. Okay, so that is entirely free now. So that's fantastic. That should work very well. Let's see here. All right. Now then, we can get our C-clamp back on this part, hold it together. There we go. Now everything's nice and greased. I believe should be ready to go. One thing I will say, the bearings on this are very nice. I mean, very nice. This thing will go forever and a day just on a spin. But let's see if it works the way it's supposed to. There it goes. And there it goes at the end of the record. Okay, let's just try this and see if it'll play something. See if it'll actually work. No, it's not dropping the record. Ah! Okay, so that didn't drop the record. I wonder why. Something to do with this little arm. This thing came with two arms. Well, it came with one arm. This one, and then another small thing. If you don't want to use the changer. Is that the right way? I wonder if that's inserted the right way. I think it can only go one way. It's got to be right. Oh, there we go. Aha! Snaps in. So now let's try it. Okay, let's try it now. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, I can hear something, so that's a good sign. Let's try to hook up an amplifier here. Okay, so that's one side. Let's check the other side. Now I've got a little bit of a short on this end. Thank you. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Looks like it's going to work. And we got a Garrard record changer for $2.